Patriotic Party national leadership were in attendance at this news conference led by the national chairman himself to press home the demand that Speaker of Parliament Albert Baldwin rescinds that decision to suspend 4 members of Parliament, 3 of them who are members of the New Patriotic Party. According to Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin, the Speaker has acted in flagrant breach of the rights of their members of Parliament as well as the standing orders of Parliament.
He now says that he has, on his own, suspended these members without hearing them. The chair of the committee did not communicate anything to the Speaker. Neither did the Speaker invite any of us in leadership for any discussion. In any event, even where there is punishment, our rules are clear. It can be for 4 days, 8 days, or 12 days, according to Order 130.
Alexander Afenyo-Markin says they've escalated this issue to their national party leadership, who are in full support of the decisions they are taking.
We have also taken the matter up. We have escalated the matter to our party level. MPP Minority Caucus is a wing of the MPP in Parliament. So we have also communicated this matter to party headquarters. The national chairman, the general secretary, and the national executives have become aware of this, and they take the matter seriously. They are not taking it lightly at all.
According to Alexander Afenyo-Markin, the party tried on several occasions over the weekend to meet the Speaker of Parliament and discuss with him their concerns, but were not successful, and are looking forward to meeting him today to ventilate their concerns. The NPP say they consider the vetting that was done on Friday after they had recused themselves as a complete nullity. You will recall that 12 persons were vetted on Friday, apart from Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, the Minister Designated for Foreign Affairs. The 11 other persons were vetted without the participation of the NPP minority, and they say they view that as a nullity.
That was an illegality. They defied Mr. Speaker, even though Mr. Speaker said we should stop proceedings and reconstitute the committee. So it's illegal. It's a nullity. It's odious. We cannot be part of it, and we'll make our position known on the House floor. To court the last time because all doors for engagement were shut. On this occasion, the doors of engagement have not been shut yet.
It is not clear yet if Albert Baldwin is going to grant audience to the minority and NPP leadership to discuss their concerns, but we look forward to formally hearing from them in terms of what specific steps they are going to take going forward, now that the decisions have been taken and have already taken effect. In attendance today at this news conference were 3 of these 4 MPs who have been suspended: Hassan Tampuli, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, and Frank Anodompre, who are still attending to Parliament and doing other things, despite the clear directives of Speaker of Parliament Albert Baldwin that they are suspended from performing any parliamentary responsibilities for the next 2 weeks. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
That we have decided to hold a public hearing of all the issues starting from Wednesday here in Parliament House at 10 a.m. prompt. We shall expect members of Parliament, the media, the guests who were present at a vetting room, as well as members of the general public, to voluntarily appear to assist the committee with the relevant information on the incident. The committee has created a digital platform, a WhatsApp platform, where we shall receive multimedia evidence, including videos, audios, and tests to facilitate a speedy execution of the committee's tasks. The committee have decided that we will solicit the service of a forensic expert from the Ghana Police Service to assist with the authentication and analysis and validation of any multimedia evidence that will be received from the witness. Starting from this morning or this afternoon, we will start viewing some of the video evidences that Parliament has. The committee would like to place on record that it is not part of its job to target or witch hunt anyone. And I want to repeat it. We are not here to witch hunt any of our colleagues or members of Parliament. This work is to look for evidence of any member of Parliament who may have flouted the rules of engagement in this House.
Welcome back in the studio, and those are the matters we're contemplating today with our guests. That committee has been set up under the directive of the Speaker of Parliament to investigate the recent chaos at the Appointments Committee, to start its public hearings to uncover the truth behind the violent incident on Thursday, January the 30th. But of course, the Speaker himself has come under some criticism on the back of these developments. Well, joining us in the studio for a discussion, we have Joseph Kwame Kuma. He is a Member of Parliament for Kintampo North. We also have Dr. Kabiru Mahama. He is Member of Parliament for Wale Wale. They join us in the studio. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Well, let's start from your initial reactions to those footages we just showed you. The minority press conference and the response from the chairman of that special committee set up by the Speaker of Parliament. Let me start with you, Mr. Kabiru Mahama. Initial reactions, and then we get surgical with the discussion.
Thank you very much, and good morning to you and to your cherished listeners. You recall that this event happened on the back of a committee set up to, if you love, public hearing of President Mahama nominees. In the course of that was on Thursday night, it led to physical altercations, which was unfortunate. The Speaker consequently suspended 4 of our members. The minority caucus of Parliament met to discuss this particular development, came to a firm resolution that much as the event was unfortunate, the decision by the by the administrative head, or if you like, the head of the institution of Parliament, that is the Speaker, was also ultra-varied in the sense that substantive and procedurally, the Speaker did not act rightly, much as the event leading up to that particular decision by the Speaker was also unfortunate or not right. We also think that a wrong does not correct a wrong. It is only the right that does correct the wrong. And our view is that the Speaker acted in excess of the powers guaranteed under the Constitution and the Standard of Orders. We also feel that even where the law allows the Speaker to act in the manner that he did, he exceeded the powers allowed by the Constitution and the Standard Orders. And we found that the punishment was not proportionate to that of the offense, so-called. So these was not proportionate. So these are our views about the Speaker's decision, and we found that to be unfortunate, very unfortunate, just like the unfortunate situation. And we take strong view, take strong exception, and we believe that the Speaker will rescind that decision and let procedural matters be handled as such, and we'll follow the standing orders and the Constitution in addressing these matters.
Okay. Let's also give the opportunity to Mr. Kuma to also weigh in before we start discussing. Initial comments.
Thank you for this opportunity, and I'll say hello to the people of Kintampo North. And then let me also use this opportunity to say to Honorable Mutaka that condolences to him and the family. They are burying the mother this morning at Kumasi.
Condolences to him.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for this opportunity. I am sad that Parliament, which is supposed to be an exemplary to the nation, will be involved in this sort of act. Viewing the videos or the visuals, my senior brother ABA Hussein will always tell you, when somebody dies at the market site, you don't need to announce the funeral again. Why am I saying so? Let's just observe what is happening. It is uncalled for. It is just, I can't imagine it. We have brought Parliament's name to the barest minimum. If for any reason one cannot participate on an issue because you were exhausted, it is out of place. We have various ways of doing things in Parliament. Gently pack your things and walk out. And the next day, make your case. There was no need to start vandalizing things as we are seeing. We will get into the issue. What did the Speaker do? You see, the moment this vetting started, there were a whole lot of criticisms out there. Media houses, civil society organizations, they were not happy the way things were going on. It's a whole lot. People are criticizing Parliament that some of the issues are being personalized. But we all know that the moment you qualify to be a member of Parliament, it means you qualify to be a minister. So people want to hear issues of decision-making or things that can rope into policy for the nation. For instance, if you are asking the Minister of Communication, Sam George, a whole lot of things about things he wrote against the president or he ever said on social media. What does it bring to somebody at Kintampo North who wants his rural or her rural telephony system to work? The people are looking for things that will let the nation move on, and not what Sam George did against. If Sam George ever did something against the president, it is the right of anybody to send him to the appropriate quarters to either say withdraw or otherwise. But it's not a time of vetting that you want to equalize in a political manner. So for me, the Speaker, having been one of the Methuselahs of Parliament, knows more than all of us. He is our father. He has passed through all the ranks in Parliament. And for him, genuinely, if you go by our orders, reading from Order 129, which talks of suspension, to Order 130, which talks of the period to suspend, it is true that first, this thing should be 4 days, followed by another 4 days, and so on and so forth. Yes. But at times, some radical things require radical actions to calm nerves down. And I'm sure that is what possibly the Speaker sought to do.
Honorable Kuma, quick point. You say he's a Methuselah, he knows more than all of you, but the mere fact that he's been in, and with all respect to the Right Honorable Speaker, the mere fact that he's been in there for that long doesn't mean he's infallible or cannot make mistakes. So you do admit that it was more than your standing orders, your new standing orders guarantee. But on the other hand, there are those who have said that even what he meted out was not enough. Let me start with Dr. Mahama, and then I'll come back to you on this bit. Why are members of Parliament, I mean, Sweetie and I have been thinking through, what is it? What is it? Why can't you get along? Today, there was this quote in the Daily Graphic. Let me see whether I can just briefly bring it up. When it was talking about parliamentarians and all that, there was this quote. I just want to see whether I can find it. It's by Indira Gandhi. Why can't you work in the national interest? And it must always be my side, our side, we feel this way, and there's rancor here and there. What is it? It's setting very bad precedents. And young people are looking at you and thinking, that's how it must be done. You must do buga. You must pick up chairs and throw them. You must hold someone by the scruff of the neck. You must, and that is politics. Indira Gandhi says, winning or losing of the election is less important than strengthening the country. People are doing NDC, MPP in Parliament, and the rest of the nation is watching you. And pardon me, you're not children. What's going on?
Yeah, so the role of Parliament is oversight. And when you have a system where it's like we have a hybrid system, where the legislative arm of government sometimes serves in the executive arm of government, the oversight role is left to the opposition. That's the first major thing everyone has to understand. That oversight in our democracy, it has to be done by the opposition because of the fact that there is a hybrid system of democracy where the legislature is not independent, so-called, of the executive. That said, if the minority or the opposition is playing this role, you are bound to have resistance from the majority who are in bed with the executive. How do you go about this particular, how do you navigate this particular situation? Because the democracy, the oversight, the representation, in other words, the check and balances that the 1992 Constitution has guaranteed us under Article 93 cannot be exercised unless we have a strong opposition. Now, we are exercising that. The majority thinks that by their numbers, they have to bully the minority. Easy way, walk out. But does that serve the interest of the Ghanaian people? No. Because the Ghanaian...
So the actions
I'm coming.
Putting a chair on the table
I'm coming
to two cables knee now.
I'm coming to address that. The minority never set out to put a table to be a chair on the table. This was what happened. They rose up in firm disagreement with the decision of the speaker, of the chair, and the majority to continue with the process, irrespective of the earlier agreement. How do you protest in Parliament? You protest by standing up. That's one way, legitimate, of saying that, look, what you are doing is not procedural right, what you are doing is not right, what you are doing is against the law, is against common sense, is against our consensus. That's what the minority did.
And after standing up?
After standing up, then the majority leadership, my good friend Rescind, Eche, the Femakpo, had the temerity to move from his side to go to the minority side in order to forcefully evict them from the room. As minority member, I will not sit down and allow, because I'm not numerically, I'm not strong, for someone to force me out of a legal mandate and perform for the people of Ghana. You have the responsibility to stand up to it. And that's what happened. You see that almost what happened, it was the minority members who moved from wherever they were and moved to contain Honorable Afenyo Markins, Anodam Pre, we have Habib, and then a couple of other people, Tampule. So it's that all the action took place. If the minority members were in their place standing up and say, we will not agree to this, I'm not sure there will be any physical destruction of properties. So this happened because...
Why did the minority members not just walk out? Why do you not just walk out?
So this is a trick. When you walk out, you allow impunity to continue. You allow the majority to have... Look at when we walk out, what happened with the veteran? Just imagine when the minority walk out of the version, what happened? So unless, of course, the Ghanaian people want the minority to give up, if the majority is bullying them with their numbers and will not subject them to strict accountability, then we all agree that all the people of Ghana expect us to walk out if the people so want whatever they want to do. And mind you, because of their overwhelming majority, they don't need the minority to carry on business of the house. Right. We can decide to be in the houses. Why should we fight? Okay? We can decide. But when we resist, we use legal means to resist. Look, I remember the chairman of this so-called committee is on record to have stated that, they will beat the minority. This is a clear contemptuous...
Hold right there. He is on... You say he's on
record. It's on record to have said...
Hold for me.
Oh, no.
Record, when you say record, are you referring to the Hansard?
No, not the Hansard. He was interviewed...
What's your reference?
He was interviewed on the back of the minority-majority debacle on which side of the house they should sit. Pejira stated that they will beat them. This is a clearly. Physical beating. I have the video here. I can play for you to hear. And this is the same person. This is a clearly contemptuous comment under order 30 of our standing orders. Specifically, or the 31.
If this can be proven, why have you not taken it up?
So I mean that's one thing.
Because this could be another. You cannot threaten another MP, a member of parliament, not even another citizen. Your colleague
This
MP cannot be present.
this is Bejires.
And we don't have, our viewers don't have the benefit of this, so we can't.
No, so that was the point. I can play it for people, but I'm not even going to that. My point is that when people think that because of their numbers, even before that, just this parliament, I heard it, the MP for Ashama, he was in the house.
And it's not bad.
So
the MP for Ashama stated categorical that majority leader allow us to go there and beat them.
Dr. Kabiru, I have a question. So you said the majority tried to bully you. The Speaker of Parliament acted in excess of the powers granted by the Constitution. Exactly. And you are trying to use legal means to oppose or to register your displeasure. So granted that it was the majority side that started this altercation, and you say you are using legal means to resolve these issues, and you're doing your work as opposition. Does two wrongs, or do two wrongs make one right? If you're using legal means, and you've seen that the majority side aren't using what you would call legal means, they stood up, come to your side, trying to overturn tables, must you meet them boot for boot?
The Constitution.
How is that legal for you to also engage in that altercation?
The Constitution
that's, brewed into what
the
we
Constitution
saw
of our republic.
Television, and
the Constitution.
International media has picked it up.
The Constitution of Ghana stated in the preamble of this Constitution on what is expected of every citizen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it asks all of us to ensure that we protect the Constitution, even if it's at the peril of our lives. That is what the Constitution enjoins us to do. So if we see that someone is raping the Constitution, someone without conscience is abusing the powers so much vested in that person by the Constitution,
you go down there to
we
the
would
ground.
have to protect the Constitution, even if it is at the peril of their lives, unless, of course, we don't have the laws that says that we should protect.
Look, are you justifying the actions of the...
No. I've stated that it was unfortunate spectacle. I stated that it shouldn't have led to that. So I stated that the criminal proceedings that is required by the police to carry on without prejudice to Parliament's own internal process should be followed. I agree with that. Those who are responsible for the distraction must be surcharged. These are our clear positions on this matter. Okay. But I'm saying that despite that, an investigation would have told us the exact cause of this particular incident, the full scale of the people involved, the people involved, and what punishment should be recommended for them. If the Speaker had followed that, and we were discussing the report of the Privileges and Immunity Committee, it would have been a different matter.
I think we'll get to that second leg of the conversation as well, focusing more on this. We've already established some things, but very quickly, I remember the wording you used, and I'll come to you. Patience. I'll come to you shortly. I remember the wording you used, that Dapia Mekpo had the temerity to come over to your end. You do realize that even in law, someone may agitate you. That's why back then we would have crimes of passion, talk about that. But even there, if you go ahead and do certain things, some things may be tempered, but the action still stands, and you may face the legal consequences. What could have been the best reaction to a Rescind Nelson Dapia Mekpo coming to your side and maybe saying, okay, you guys must go? Was the best reaction what we saw? Is that the only way you could have dealt with the situation?
Instinctively, every man has this inalienable or natural right to self-defense, instinctively. We may say that you are honorable men, you are supposed to exercise some level of decorum, some level of patience, some level of tolerance, and persevere, if you like. And I would have stated, I mean, there were people in that particular meeting that stood and never got themselves in the altercation. I would have thought that even if in the midst of this provocation, they would have exercised patience, they would have insisted that, look, we are not going out, but this process cannot continue because we have rules governing this process.
Okay, all right.
They could have exercised that patience.
Right.
But that said, I am not also naive to think that if someone is threatened, someone is attacked, the person doesn't have the right to defend himself.
So, response mechanism.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. In first place, I want my brother Kabiru not to just say that the chairman of the committee came out with the issue that if they joke, they should beat them or whatever. Whoever you are quoting is not the chairman of the committee. The first deputy speaker, Honorable Ahiafo, is the chairman of the committee.
We're talking of the committee the president set up. So get the difference. The president set up a committee to investigate this.
The speaker, you mean?
Well,
the speaker, yeah.
The case in point now is about the appointment committee. And not a committee the president set up.
Yeah, but when I say
in Parliament, thank you very much.
That, yeah.
So,
but you do acknowledge that any claim about will beat you is also.
I was in Parliament that day.
Right.
You see, what happens in Parliament is this: if a brother Ernest Dogbe pass a comment that if they joke, let's beat them. You know, when we are within the chamber, we do throw jabs. He did it.
So in the spirit of not beating, please watch how you.
He did it. I'm coming. He did it not out of anger. We do throw. Kabiru, you are aware. You will sit at far end and throw jabs to the other side. When somebody is even talking, you will tell the fellow, "Hey, sit down." In a joke, he doesn't mean it. How can Nsdogbe say, "Let's go and beat the MPPs"? He can't just go and do that. And even that leader. Ayarga, majority leader, told him, "Oh, don't say that." It was out of joke. He didn't mean it. In any case,
but why say it if you don't mean it?
No, he didn't. If you go inside, your reporters are here. They see a whole lot of things.
I acknowledge that in Parliament certain things
very
happen,
good. We just play. We at times yes. It was just out of joke. Not he didn't mean it. The Dogbe never meant that. Secondly, we have a social media lesson here that says that I don't want to believe it. Maybe the investigation will come out with it. This honorable member of Parliament, during the chaos, one of the MPs held under a table and squeezed. No, he bowed under the table and squeezed the balls of Rescind. I'm coming.
This morning we had that discussion. Apparently.
No, I'm coming. But what could make Honorable Dafia Makpo to jump to the other side? In any case, if he did not because somebody held his balls, and he's a chief whip, he has gone to your side maybe to appeal to you that, "Oh, my brothers, why are you doing this?" We are friends in Parliament. We are never enemies. So if Dafia Makpo is found there, gunless, cutlassless, bulletless, what harm did he cause? He was in a smoke. He didn't throw a fist. You were rather holding his smoke. The visual is there. That's why I said.
Referring to Hassan Tampuli.
And all those people. Dafia Makpo never threw a fist. He's a leader, a chief whip.
But why did he go to the other end?
No, if he crossed to your side, maybe it was to appeal to you that, "Oh, calm down." Look at him. He never threw a fist. Look at Dafia Makpo. Just look at how you were handling him. So the visual is there. That's why I said, see,
look at Keita MP. His name is look at Keita MP.
What was he doing? Keita MP is trying to say, look, his hands are down. He didn't throw a fist. The visuals are there. So for Speaker to observe, that day, before Speaker came out and even spoke about this and did the suspension, it took us almost the whole day. From 10 a.m., he did it around 5 p.m., which means they observed these things, looked at the audiovisuals, and then he came up with it, fine. No matter how...
But it's been said that when they appear before the committee, they will have to defend, because there are some people you will see in there who may be moving and all that, but they are not directly involved in anything. So when you're invited, you will then come and explain what happened, as far as your presence is.
And secondly, the MPP's press conference, politicizing it. For me, they should have made it all inclusive. Talking for Dafia Makpo and talking for themselves, that in their view, maybe Mr. Speaker stretch his bounds. In that case, I would have liked that, because we are all parliamentarians, and this thing happened to all of us. The Speaker didn't politicize it by dealing with the MPPs and leaving the NDC. No, Dafia Makpo is from the NDC side, and then it's just that your people are majority, but majority in the sense that when we look at the visuals, my senior brother, my respected senior brother, what is the name? Your chief whip.
Yeah, Frank
Anodompre. Lifted a whole chair. He began it, kept the chair on the table, Then others also followed suit. In the secondary school sector,
Did he really say what has been suggested? Muntutu cables.
In fact, I have not heard him, but I have seen him lifting a chair as the commander and the beginner of the whole thing.
Oh. I did not hear him say
I didn't hear him. But the whole of Ghana has seen him he began the lifting of chairs and putting on table. And the next thing you could see is that the police were forced to carry a broken table and were moving away. So, if Speaker doesn't go with this drastic measure, by the next morning you would have heard a senior high, a secondary school students also vandalizing things in there. What will you tell them?
No. I posed the question to Kabiru. I'll pose that same question to you, and then Sweetie will continue the conversation. I asked, you are supposed to be, you see, I don't know whether as members of parliament you recognize that you occupy a very privileged position. People queue, bake in the sun to vote for Kuma, for Mahama, because they feel, when you come on the show, sometimes I see comments, people saying, oh, and he's doing, you bear the title honorable. It's actually your office, and you must live up to it. But some of these actions put you in a very bad light. So I want to find out, look, on the back of Ayawaso West Wugon, we saw the placards, bloody, I will not add. Yeah. Very distasteful. We've seen actions in parliament with all kinds of invectives sometimes spewed, sometimes with the microphone off. We've seen the running away with ballots, Carlos Ahinkra. We've seen all of these, and now this. It appears it's just devolving, getting worse and worse. Why can't you, as members of parliament, Honorable Kuma, why can't you be honorable?
That is why I began by condemning what I saw. In fact, I'm not happy. I'm sad that that thing happened. It was needless, and as I said, the minority had another opportunity to just pack their things and walk out. Then the next morning, do the media engagement and so on and so forth. Before this parliament, before we rose, I joined Cindy and went for voting and came. You remember Leader Fenyo Makin then, majority leader. There was an issue, he was in banter with Speaker. He threw his arms and said all sorts of things he could say onto Speaker. But Speaker never bothered. The next moment, he called for a press conference, and they went and addressed the press. When they addressed the press, that was it. Nobody picked any harmful thing in Parliament, and we left them to go. So they could have done same. All these press conferences are bringing national executives and whatever inside, politicizing them. It's neither here nor there, because for me, if they were doing it as a whole, Parliament together, Mr. Speaker, your suspension of Dafia Makbo, suspension of the three of our people, we think it is not genuine. Let's go back to our standing orders. Standing order 129, you read it together with standing order 130, which together brings the substance and the Constitution by Article 19. Yes, Article 19. If you put all pattern. Pardon me.
The audio ultra pattern, fair hearing.
Very good. Right, so if we go to that tangent, then it means we are doing things together. But the moment you begin to politicize it, bringing your party people in, then we'll continue to be splitted in Parliament, which will not do us any good.
Okay, so I think the conversation would, we're going along the lines of first, what happened? Although Shakespeare says there's no act to show the mind's construction on the face, both of you have tried, to the best of your knowledge, to explain what you think happened and why we got to where we are. And then we look at the punitive actions or the disciplinary measures, which your side says is an overkill. Your side says, well, the situation called for it. Yeah. But before we move on to that leg, I want to ask you, Dr. Kabiru. So yesterday, the chairman of the appointment committee made some claims, and I want you to respond to that. He said that the minority leader played it smart and safe. I've heard him ask, I'm quoting him now, I've heard him asking them to do some of the things that they did. But when they were about to start, he left the room. So he's saying, in essence, that the minority leader is the one that instigated all of this. But because he left the room, he's nowhere in there for him to take some of the part of the blame. However, he's, giving press conferences and so on and so forth. Is that a fact? How do you respond to that?
With the greatest of respect to lawyer Ahemfo Bernard, the First Deputy Speaker, I would think that all this is as a result of his failure. The buck should stop with him because he is the leader of the committee. To even go out there to start apportioning blame to other people is the most unfortunate. He should take the first major responsibility to ensuring that where there is no consensus at idem, he makes sure that he prevails on members to come to the table and have understanding of issues.
But
once he feels that
Alexander Penyo-Markin behind
I'll address that. Once he feels that, it shouldn't go anywhere to begin to say that this person should be blamed, this person should be blamed. Because I've had occasion, even on the back of the first nominees, to say that Honorable Ahemfo Bernard is not playing the role expected of him. He's under pressure. Party fanatics, full soldier would attack him and insult him that he's being soft. People will say that he's allowing Penyo-Markin to dictate how he should go. All that put pressure on him. But you realize that in order for people to have faith and confidence, you must act fairly. You must make sure that you give people the opportunity to ask their questions. Look, nominees will come and say all sorts of things against people who are not in the committee. But when a member of parliament is going to ask nominees certain questions, say the person is not here, so you can't put the question to him. That is true that if the person is not here, the person didn't alter a report, you can't put a question. It is also similar true for saying that Swede was not here, so don't let us not ask questions about him because you are not here to defend yourself. But the speaker, first deputy speaker, will allow questions, and people would make sort of vindictive, all sort of things against other people who are not in the committee to defend themselves. But when you want to put the nominee to questions, he says that no. That's it. Penyo-Markin stood up to say that, look, we are defying this impunity. And he made this position clear to the chief whip. And the chief whip made this position clear to the members of the minority in that committee that we will not allow this to continue.
Did he encourage you to resist with all any means possible?
He encouraged us to resist the oppressor's rule. He encouraged us to stand up to what is right and what is proper for the good for the country.
By any means necessary.
He encouraged us to do whatever is possible to make sure that the Ghanaian people are not shortchanged.
So he did say do whatever is possible.
I am saying that he asks us to do whatever is possible to ensure that the Ghanaian people are not shortchanged.
Does that feed into Bernard Ahemfo's narrative?
So when he said that, he was even in the room when everything happened. Okay, apart from leader, there were other people who were in the room that are not cited in this report.
Right.
It didn't mean that they played smarter than the other people. In everything, the chief whip would have to be the one whipping people. That's the role of the chief whip. Okay. And if you see anything done by Frank and not Dompre, you don't think there's not a gentleman. He's playing a role. My friend Rescind is a chief whip.
Okay.
If you see him doing anything, it means that it is the role placed on him.
So, I don't agree. Ben, you go ahead.
It's interesting, first of all, how you've moved from majority to oppressed. But I don't know whether the role of chief whip includes some of the actions we've seen in parliament, whipping people. I see even the Knesset in Israel, I see the UK's parliament, I see the US. It gets hot, it gets fiery. But I don't see these scenes, so I don't know about whipping. But coming to you, Mr. Kuma, the minority has said that post what happened, the vettings that were had were a nullity, as Penyo-Markin in his legal sense will say it was osios. He had a different pronunciation, though.
Osios.
Osios. They say that when these candidates come to the plenary, the floor of parliament, where all of you are going to vote, they will not participate in it. And that even on the back of what the speaker said, that there should be a cessation, that is also contrary to what the speaker said. These vettings that were conducted, were they legal?
Thank you. Very legal. By the standing orders of parliament, let's go to the Constitution. 104 of the Constitution article says that we need about 1/3. We need 1/3 of members to transact business on the floor of Parliament. But we need, when you go to 104, that 102 is on 1/3. Yeah. Then 104 is on decision making. We need 50, the number 50 plus, to take decisions. If you translate it or you fit it into the vetting committee by our numbers, the NDC members in the vetting committee are 9. I think there are 11, isn't it? The whole number is 11. Yeah. The NDCs are 7, and then the MPP 4. Now, having left the place or whatever happened, the next day, I was there that night. I was there when the vetting went on. The 7 members of the NDC were present, and they were enough to take decision because their number was more than the 50 to take decision. So they under 104, it is a qualification. So for anybody to try to shoot that down, it's not the truth.
How about on the standpoint of, I remember at some point, at the dawn of the 9th Parliament, Afenyo Markin saying that, look, their numbers are small, but they are charging the majority side to ensure that you must work in tandem and not just run roughshod over the minority. And Mahama Ayarige responding that they are not going to abuse, or you are not going to abuse your majority. Yes, per the numbers, you could go ahead, but how does that feed into the bit about working together with the other side and letting our democracy work?
Yesterday, I monitored the first deputy speaker, the chair of the committee, and he did indicate that the person who could tell him not to continue with the vetting was supposed to be the speaker. And let it be on record. Every committee in Parliament, what we say is that, Mr. Speaker, your committee, the Education Select Committee takes reports and decisions on behalf of the speaker. So the vetting committee, whatever they are doing there, they are doing it on behalf of the speaker. That's the ultimate thing there in Parliament. So for you to say that their continuity with the vetting is a nullity, no, because that day we all observed, Honorable Habib tried to raise that issue, that the speaker's communication on the floor meant that they couldn't continue with the vetting. The chairman, who is the first deputy speaker, made it clear to him that it was not him who was supposed to communicate anything to him. You know, we are dealing with legalities here. You are trying to outwit the system. The guy, whoever also knows the law will let you know that no, that is not the right thing. Go and come properly. We are discussing the issue of speaker over sanctioning, isn't it? Are we not talking about the law? Yeah. In one hand, you are talking of a speaker over sanctioning people, and on the other hand, you don't want to obey the other side of the law. He who comes with equity must come with clean hands. So let's be genuine in our...
How do we proceed on this matter then? Because you have vetted, is it these eight people? What then happens to them? Does that mean they will come to plenary? If the NPP walks out, you will go ahead and clear them? And
that's why they always tell you that the minority will have its say and the majority will have its way.
But does that work? Does that work for our democracy?
Yes. We didn't abuse Article 104.
I see.
We didn't abuse Article 104.
Kabiru, how do you see this playing out? Was this an illegality after all?
It was. And let me explain. Before I explain.
It was, huh?
Yeah, let me explain. First, he said the speaker. And if you go to Order 6 of our standing orders on interpretation, the speaker, Mr. Speaker includes the speaker, the deputy speaker, or the member presiding. So it's not bargaining. When we say the speaker committee, that's nothing to do with...
I mean, Bernard Ahiafo has been referred to as speaker or chair.
That is what I'm saying, that when they say that when every committee in Parliament is referred to the speaker committee, that does not refer to Mr. Bagwin.
Wow.
It refers, Mr. Speaker refers interpretation of our standing orders. The speaker, the deputy speaker, or the member presiding. Now,
in what context is the member presiding referred to as a speaker?
For instance, where we have the first deputy and second deputy out of jurisdiction, and then the speaker is not there, members can decide to say that one of you could sit on the chair.
But in that instance,
sometimes the clerk,
that person then plays the role of a speaker.
I agree. So that's what I'm saying, that when they say the speaker committee, at the committee level, the one presiding was who? Bernard Ahiafo. That's the first thing. So the committee, sitting of the committee is like a sitting of parliament. So the one presiding was Bernard Ahiafo. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you raise issue about the constitution of a committee, not quorum. The speaker didn't say that by the fact that we are removing deputy chief whips for both sides, chief whips for both sides, the committee will lose quorum. He says that the committee has to be reconstituted. So you cannot start. The composition of that committee, ab initio, is problematic. Before I even go to the issue of technical, because the composition article 217, or the 217 of our standing orders, makes provision of who are supposed to be members of the appointments committee. It makes provision for certain offices. The deputy rank, the minority leader, the deputy minority leader, the chief whip, who is a member of this particular committee, was suspended. And the majority chief whip was also suspended. It means that an office that is supposed to be represented in the vetting, proper so-called, has been suspended. So it goes to the bottom of the constitution of that committee, not quorum. So if the speaker in his wisdom say that they have to meet immediately to reconstitute the committee, in the mind of the speaker, the constitution of that committee is not fully complete.
So per where you said it was an illegality?
That's what I'm saying. It's an illegality, and what has happened there is a nullity, because you don't expect something done any act done out of an illegal process cannot stand. What we expect, the speaker can decide to glance over, and he meant the point that Ahiafo said that he needed communication from the speaker, right? It's true that he should have expected communication from the speaker, but someone drew the attention of the first deputy speaker and the chairman of the appointments committee to the fact that there has been a ruling by the speaker, a ruling that was during plenary. So therefore, we cannot continue this sitting. The majority leader, the leader of the House, also came to explain that, yes, there have been that ruling, but Mr. Speaker says we should meet, as it were, to determine the next act of action. But the majority leader says something important, and people are losing sight. He said, look, even if we cannot continue, I'm giving you 1 minute. Let's suspend for 1 minute. You will call Mr. Speaker. Let's suspend for 1 minute for you to call Mr. Speaker and find out what was your ruling. Let's clarify your ruling to me so that we can continue. The chairman refused. Just adjourn, just suspend sitting for 1 minute and call the speaker so that the speaker will confirm the nature of my ruling, whether it goes to the core of the constitution of the committee or it has something to do with quorum. Quorum, they have formed quorum.
As speaker, and I'm referring to Bernard Ahiafo, yes, as first deputy speaker, as chair of the committee, and as speaker, he had the right to do that. He had the right to accept, to make that call, or to decide not to. No, hold for me, hold for me. He had every right. He is speaker in that context. He is chair of the committee. You've already stated that. He had every right to decide, I will get back to the speaker or I will go ahead. Did he not? No.
So when go to Article 23 of the Constitution, the right to exercise discretion, the right to exercise discretion.
Just answer.
I'm answering the question. You have no right to decide when the issue is at the core of the law. When someone is raising substantive issue of law, you can't say that I'm the speaker, so therefore I have the right to ask. You have to rule on that particular substantive and make your justification why that rule, your interpretation.
That's interesting because the speaker is many instances. This is even on this matter we are talking about where he has dispensed punishment.
That is why we are challenging it. That's why we are challenging it. I'm saying that you can exercise that right, but once you exercise and it is not right in law, people have the right to question. That's why we are questioning that ruling. Unless, of course, you are saying that he has that right and we don't have the right to say that that right was not exercised well, it was not exercised fairly.
My point is, you say he had no right. And I'm saying that on the face of what your standing orders say, he had a certain right. He has exercised it. You can exercise your counter rights.
And that is what we are basically, I'm saying that if a speaker violates a law, anyone can violate law and have justification for it. It is our duty to say that the exercise of that particular right is problematic. It is whimsical and capricious in the words of the former leaders. So that is.
I will not come in on this matter again. So for you, the way forward is what? They have the numbers. And if this goes to plenary, they will pass these 8 people, whether or not you are there. Is that to say you are not going to show up? You will walk out? And again, while I know as parliamentarians you don't want this, are you going to test these in court?
Well, so
because I've heard talk about.
Yeah, so I've heard, and when you look at the commentary on this your platform and several other platforms, every single objective Ghanaian thinks that the speaker actions was wrong. That's the first thing. I've not seen any independent person saying that the speaker was right. And even I remember on this platform, their former minister.
Are you sure?
On this platform.
I heard a number of people say.
I can give you an example.
Independent person has said that.
I can give you countless list of people. Unless, of course, you categorize those people as not being independent. So that's one.
Okay. So I think that who has said he is right is not independent.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that unless, of course, you give me one example of a person, you think the person is independent, and the person said the speaker action was right, then I'll be very humble enough to accept what you are saying. That's the point I'm making.
Go ahead.
Now, we would engage. Our expectation is that he mentioned the fact that we should have done it as, Parliament, both minority and majority. I agree. And even in the press address by the minority leader, he stated that he had reached out to the majority leader. They equally think that what the Mr. Speaker had done was not proper.
No, I beg you.
Please.
Let him finish.
Please, if he did not listen to the press, I was there. If you look at the visual, I was standing right behind the majority leader. That he had reached out to majority leader, they feel like, well, this thing shouldn't have gone the way that what the Mr. Speaker did was not proper, but they should engage more. He had tried to reach out Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker it was difficult to reach out Mr. Speaker. So I agree with you that we should have had consensus on this and go on as a parliament. But if you find the minority or majority indulging in what the Speaker has done, basically you can't find faith in the fact that they will be willing to cooperate with the minority to others. So what we will do is to engage the Speaker. We believe that today the leadership will engage with Mr. Speaker more. To see okay, Mr. Speaker, you are from a committee. We are asking you to rescind your previous decision and let the members of the committee, members of Parliament, carry out their exercise until the committee comes to a determination and the applicable sanctions can then be meted out to them. It's not the first time a member of Parliament has been suspended.
Right.
It's not the first time a member of Parliament has been suspended, but they were suspended on the back of investigation being done. If the Speaker does not listen, well, that's why the law court is there.
Okay.
We have to test it and see whether or not a speaker has the right to so motu decide to suspend the member of Parliament for Walwale if he thinks that he had a dream last night which did not, he found me on the wrong side of the dream.
Okay, Doug, hold for us. I'm curious to hear Mr. Kume's counter-argument on the legality of the Speaker's suspension of these 4 MPs.
Very good.
Yeah.
You see, this issue of long talk about these arguments, I keep saying that. You see, my brother started saying that the Speaker and so forth. If you say the Speaker is Avan Babin, the elected man. Any other, the first deputy and the second deputy, we call them Mr. Speaker. If you want to go to interpretation. You are using Mr. Speaker on them because they are not the main speaker.
Can I have a look at this?
However, whatever decision that Ahiafo takes, any committee that you go to work on behalf of Parliament, you bring your reports, and they are Mr. Speaker's reports. You lay anything in Parliament, it is for the Speaker. That thing must be clear, my brother. Look, Honorable Ahiafo was in charge as at that time, and he gave his ruling. When Honorable Habib raised the issue, he gave his ruling that, no, you could not stop us from carrying on with the vetting. And when I listened to Honorable Ahiafo yesterday on one of the media, was it TV3 or so, he did indicate that he called Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker said the meeting he wanted to schedule, he had to postpone it again because he was to travel. He left.
He was to see the wife off to the airport.
Very good. He was seeing somebody off. Very good.
Just to say that you're actually right. In terms of interpretation, Mr. Speaker, that includes the Deputy Speaker or a member presiding. But the speaker is the person elected in accordance with the article.
So let that thing be clear.
But of course, even in English, THE is definite.
Definite. You see.
Definite article.
So let's not go to that interpretation. Whatever Mr. Ahiafo did, he did it rightly because he said he had a call. He called Mr. Speaker that he called the Speaker that what you said is should we? He said, "Oh, you can continue because we can't meet immediately," and he continued to do his work. So if you come out and say
the Speaker, the Right Honourable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagby, gave Bernard Ahiafo, Mr. Speaker, in that instance. To go ahead.
I heard the first Deputy Speaker yesterday. I don't know whether it was TV3 or one of the media houses. I'm coming, my brother. Maybe you didn't watch it. You didn't watch it. In any case, whatever you want to raise, you have the right to raise it. The system, at the end of the day, will come out with the truth. You have the right to challenge. And like I said, nobody should think that there was an illegality. Honorable Ayarga, who is our majority leader, was part of that night vetting of the other 8 people we were talking of, which they are thinking that it was not rightly done. Honorable, and they announced their list one by one, and they accepted them as having been vetted.
Based on what Kabiru Mahama said, are you saying the absence of the minority chief whip, the majority chief whip, which also feeds into the standing orders, they don't have any effect on
no,
on
because
the work of the
no, it didn't have any effect because at the end of the day, they are part of the 11-member committee. So out of the 11-member committee, if 4 are out, and the majority will still have 7, what is the problem? The 7 form a decisional quorum to do their work. That is it. It's either you accepting it.
217 make provision for the Kuma must be there. Kuma must be there.
You just give an interpretation.
And 2 other people.
Listen, you just give, your senior is 2 years in Parliament. You have just come. So we have some of this argument. Don't worry. Some of these are you will just give an interpretation of the speaker and I corrected you.
No, you've not. That one I'll come. You've not. No, you've not. I'm not. He said that every. No. He said that. No, let me make it possible.
Kabiru.
No, let me make that point. It wasn't a correction. I'll come to that because he said that any report is the speaker report, and I'm saying that it is wrong.
Okay.
It is not the interpretation of our standing orders.
Right.
Any report is Mr. Speaker's report. That is the fact I established, not the speaker report. I'm not saying Mr. Speaker and the speaker are the same. That was the point I made. So don't say you corrected it.
In the end, any committee sits, let's say the privileges committee, if they sit and the chair, together with the rest of the team, a decision or consensus is arrived at. Whose report is that when they present that to the plenary, when they present it? It's
Mr. Speaker's report.
The Speaker's
where Mr. Speaker is who?
Where is the person presiding over the House at that particular moment? For instance,
in the end, become the Speaker.
It is not the Speaker report. It's Mr. Speaker's report because it is the work of Parliament. And the work of Parliament, it may happen that the Speaker will not be the one sitting in plenary. So in that case,
played out many times since you've been in Parliament.
In that case, one point. Let me get
your point has been made.
That point. We have the speaker. We have the speaker interpreting this law. The speaker has been in Parliament. I'm coming. The speaker has been in Parliament for more than any one of us.
All right.
But that doesn't mean that he's been in Parliament for so long. His interpretation of the standing order is so.
I made that point.
That's the point we need. That's the point we need to start.
You were infallible.
Let it be clear. You know, the word the speaker is not continuously used in the plenary. But that doesn't mean it is not the speaker. Because we do say, Mr. Speaker, your committee report, are you getting me? The word commonly used, no, wait, I will tell you. The word commonly used there is, Mr. Speaker, your report. Anytime we are laying a report and we are accepting it, anybody getting that will say, your report. But it's just that they don't use the term, the speaker, because the common word we use is Mr. Speaker, because when he's on the table, when he's sharing, we say Mr. Speaker. We don't say.
So you're telling me that in the event where
eventually the Mr. Speaker is still the speaker.
No. Mr. Speaker, the standing order give different interpretation of the Speaker and Mr. Speaker.
Is delivering some reports as head of this committee or chair of this committee. Of course, he is first deputy speaker. And if he's presenting it in Parliament, he will say, Mr. Speaker, your report, referring to Alban Bagman. Is that what you're saying?
He will not say, he will not say, because he is the one, as at that time, holding forth for the speaker.
No, I'm saying in this instance.
He will say the committee's report. The
in
committee
this instance,
he said,
Alban Bagman is in the seat.
Very good.
And Bernard is presenting the report.
Yes.
How would he couch it?
He will say the committee's report, he's laying the committee's report. And they will read it. And why doesn't, because when he moved the motion for the report to be laid, that is why the clerks, normally he will stand up and then the clerk will now read it. Where does the clerk sit? In front of the speaker. Are you getting me? Any report we are laying is the clerk who reads it.
So is it
on behalf, because I'm coming.
Do you know what I find? Do you know what I find interesting in the midst of all of this? There are some subtle technicalities, and of course these are the new standing orders. So some of the old has been refined in the new. But what I find curious is the fact that whether for political reasons or otherwise, you are all making some logical reasoning, and yet you cannot seem to agree on anything.
No, we can agree.
Your ends are
let me tell you where I agree with you. Let me tell you where I agree with you.
Whether it is,
I agree with
your standing orders.
No, it's not a standard. I agree with my senior that the speaker is one definite person, who is the person of Mr. Sumana Alban Kisford Bagbe.
The speaker.
The speaker. That is right. But reports of committees are Mr. Speaker's reports. Report for Parliament are Mr. Speaker report. And I'm saying that when they say Mr. Speaker's report, they are not referring to the Speaker. They are referring to the Speaker, they are referring to the Deputy Speaker, they are referring to the member presiding. So that is the point of departure. So the point I argue, the reason why I raised the issue was that when they say that every report of committee reports to the Speaker, that was where I disagree with him. But I agree with him that when you say the Speaker, there's no other Speaker than Mr. Kingsford Bagbe. But the committee's report is that of Mr. Speaker's report. This is the position I hold.
And those are ultimately the Speaker's reports.
Right.
That is what I want to say.
Let's wind down on this.
Ultimately, the Speaker's reports.
Let's wind down on this and move the conversation forward. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on whether or not we need a public hearing, right? That special committee, 7-member special committee that has been set up. Commentary from social media, especially X, because that's where I monitor, as to whether or not this is a political witch hunt. It's to be used as a forum to embarrass some of members of parliament, or if truly, because this happened in the public eye, everyone saw it, is the reason why we're going to have a public hearing. Yesterday, I listened to the chairman of the committee inviting the public even to voluntarily bring information, and they'll be going through some multimedia footages and so on and so forth. Doc, how do you feel about a public hearing? Is it simply a matter of it happening in the public? The public is very much involved, and so try or go through all your investigations in public, or a political witch hunt to embarrass some members of parliament?
I don't agree with the fact that it's a political witch hunt, much as I have my issues with the committee, much as I disagree with the way and approach of the Speaker in respect of how this is going. If they decide on a public hearing, and I think that the Ghanaian people deserve the right to know actually what happened on Friday night.
Thursday?
I mean, usually I don't know whether it's Thursday now or Friday, because the night preceding Friday, whether it is Friday night, I think it should be Friday night. So Friday night, I don't know what happened to that might have caused this thing. And people want to know. My version, his version, your version may all well be different. Ghanaian people, the only way to know is when witnesses are called, the suspects are called, they give their testimony, they are cross-examined, and everyone would hear what transpired. So I don't think it's political witch hunt. And people thinking that we we should not descend to that arena. We need to preserve the dignity of Parliament. And once we are so much resolute in preserving the dignity of Parliament, whatever means, there will be some hearing that they may say that let's hear them in camera. And that may be allowed. They were, even in Parliament, our proceedings sometimes, some of the matters, will hear them in camera. So I don't have issues, whatever, or difficulty, whatever, with that approach adopted by the chairperson of that committee's setup. And you know, the right committee would have been the Privileges and Immunity Committee, which has not been constituted. So that's what and the Speaker has the right to set up a committee. And that right, you cannot take it away from you. I mean, the setup of a committee is very legal, it's proper, and you cannot take away that particular right from the Speaker, wanting to know what had happened and the remedies we can use to avert subsequent occurrence. Mr.
Kuma, any concerns that this public hearing may deepen political rifts?
No, for me, it's okay. It is to unearth those other things that we are all suspecting. Somebody holding somebody's balls and maybe those things.
Why are you there? They deny this. Why are you not correcting?
The one they were denying, I wasn't around. But that is on social media.
Social media is not your authority.
Are you getting me? I wasn't there. And the one who was the very honorable man, when we checked initially from even the visual say, when Honorable Afenyo Markin was there, that honorable man was the one in smoke there too. But later, when the struggle was happening, he wasn't seen anymore. Honorable Afenyo too wasn't seen anymore.
So maybe the person who supposedly was dealt this blow, so to speak, may have to seek medical testicular examination to find out whether
until the committee sits and we unravel all those things. Or maybe Honorable Dafia Makpa wants to be a gentleman, he doesn't want it to be known. That's also another thing. But in all, I know when the committee sits, the truth will come out and we'll move on. We are friends there. I don't know why when it comes to some of these things.
It's a wonder to our citizens.
We are friends.
The way you describe each other in public.
The way we knew ourselves before even Parliament.
Right.
So I can't imagine me giving him a blow or he giving me a blow.
In fact, Bernard Ahiafo says he has a pretty good relationship with Afenyo Markin.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then he goes on to jab and say that, but he thinks Afenyo has forgotten that he's no longer the majority leader.
You see, and even I hear 4 yesterday when I monitor on that, he did indicate that he whispered to Afenyo that the last person they were to help, and he then this thing blew up. Okay. That he whispered to him.
How can you whisper to him when he's a committee?
But don't they sit? You know, they are near one another. Once in a while, they speak into their ear.
Did you hear them do that? I see.
They do, but that doesn't constitute the committee's decision because it's not the committee is not just anyway. And then
fair point, gentlemen. I have two concluding thoughts, and Sweetie will take it from there. There's also been this conversation. Inus Afuseni, together with us, discussed it yesterday. Some of these members of Parliament could very well be even expelled from Parliament.
Yeah.
The Speaker could bring it up, and I believe it's a 2/3 vote. You could educate me on your standing orders. You could expel people from Parliament. Yeah. Interestingly, your side has 2/3 in Parliament, and if push comes to shove, those actions could be brought to bear. Should we get to the point where in tackling indiscipline, we are talking about indiscipline in our schools and students beating other students with a machete, but it appears some members of Parliament are in a comfortable lead when it comes to indiscipline. What are your thoughts on these matters? Expulsion from Parliament, which would be extreme, but dealing with indiscipline on the House or in the House?
Yeah, okay. So
I want to start with you, Mr. Kuma, and then Kabiru.
All right. You know, I began this thing by saying that I am not for it at all. I'm still disappointed in whatever happened. I began by saying that the minority needed, if they were not comfortable, to just pack their standing orders and whatever and leave the scene. And the next morning, we could have had that decorum. The media would have listened to them. Ghanaians possibly would have clapped for their decision to have done that. Well, maybe that's their strategy, to call public attention, to get public sympathy for what they have done. He is right to have said they have the right to stand. You have the right to stand, you did. But what brought about lifting chairs and showcasing them on tables again? Those chairs, somebody could have seized them from the opposite side and used it on somebody's head. Because for all you know, somebody could misconstrue the lifting of the chair to mean you are bringing it, you want to maybe throw it. Anything could have happened. So it was just uncalled for. Whatever it is, I will plead that, Mr. Speaker, the Speaker, we shouldn't send the matter to that level. The moment an issue gets to the Privileges Committee, it is at the highest level. And the only, if not mercy, the end result will not be palatable.
Yeah, but with this level of indiscipline, it should go to the highest level, shouldn't it?
I'm sure if my seniors will be fast, maybe some apologies will go into the system. And that's what I'm expecting maybe the political leadership should rather be doing with Mr. Speaker or the Speaker. They shouldn't politicize it. If they come together, majority, minority, what we did was just not palatable. Ghanaians should forgive us. I'm sure that's the right way to go now.
Okay, so they should mollify the Speaker. Kabiru.
Yeah, so I think that the standing orders, standing order 36, 1, sub-rule A, Roman number 2, states that a member, Parliament may expel the member from Parliament if it's found out that the person acted in contempt of Parliament or in breach of parliamentary privileges. But that cannot be read in isolation, in silo. Anyone reading it will have to read it in conjunction with Order 129, 130. Because the acts of the members, even though it's a breach of parliamentary privileges, it can be categorized under disorderly conduct. And that disorderly conduct, the rules specify the punishment for that. So I don't see why a speaker would agree that it is a breach of parliamentary privileges, would exact punishment far in excess of what the standing orders has provided. Because that's what I'm saying, the Order 36 will have to be read in conjunction with Order 129 and 130 to get the fact that if it is for the first offense, you have to punish the person for the period of, 4 sitting days. And if it's for the second time, you have to suspend the person for another 4. That makes it 8, and in that order. These are honorable members. These are their first, even if you found guilty, conduct of disorder. And I don't see why a speaker would go to the extent, or even the committee will go to the extent of recommending that those members should be expelled from Parliament. So it's a possibility. Especially considering there are first-timers in there, Jerry Shaib and all these people, you know, Wei Jagbawe and all of that. Yeah, so it could be a very tricky situation. No, so the first-timers, that even give the reason why they shouldn't go to that, because first-timer is assumed that you are not very much abreast. Let me give an example. Let me reprimand myself. No, let me reprimand myself. For instance, on my floor, I never got he even corrected me that once the mace, was the standing upright in front of the table. No member walks in front of it. And that is, you learn it by practice. Within the pyramid, the circle, the majority says this way, the minority says the other way. And the moment the mace is there, the symbol of authority for Parliament. Yeah. You don't walk in crossing it. Circle. If you want to go to the minority side, you have to pass through the chairs and go there. Right. Sitting was not in, they were calling sitting in order, and I walked. okay, they drew my attention quickly. So I actually even took a bow before I walked past, but that wasn't even allowed. Once it's there,
you don't cross.
You don't cross.
All right.
Okay. Because I was first timer, they allowed it. But a second timer also did it the following day. Okay, they allowed. I'm just giving an example to show that if you are new in the house, there may be certain things that they will have to temper justice with mercy. And Jerry Ahmed Shoaib is one example of a first timer that even if you want to exert punishment, you must be considerate of all these factors. And I think that at the end of the day, the committee will not go to that extent. It will be killing an ant with a sledgehammer. And I don't think the speaker wants to. The speaker will.
He's saying something. Is it possible for
them?
Charlie, I'm sorry.
That's all.
No, look, it's not even. It is imperative that we apologize to the people of Ghana.
Okay.
It's not to the speaker that we're apologizing to.
I have a final question for both of you. This is not the first time we are seeing these circumstances play out in Parliament, and international media has picked it up. For me as a Ghanaian, it's very embarrassing, just to say the least. And Ghana is not doing. In fact, we've seen so many other African countries where the parliamentarians are throwing and hauling chairs and tables at each other. What lessons can you draw from our incident? I remember that brawl over the election of the speaker. There was the e-levy debate and all that altercation that ensued. At this point, what lesson can we draw from everything that we see, and how quickly the shift happens from cool heads to tables overturning that we can keep with us as parliamentarians so that we don't see this again? I'll start with you, Mr. Kumar. Please do this in 1 minute.
The lessons we can draw is to, if we cast our minds back to when Parliament was even a hung Parliament, so close, then minority, the NDC side, I'm sure thumbs up for us. We never did anything of this sort because I remember the e-levy time, we walked out. When the speaker made a judgment, there was an issue. Then when he was outside, our senior Joe Wise came and turned was it on budget approval? Joe Wise turned the ruling. We didn't lift chairs. That day we walked out. We walked out. So the minority now should learn from some of those things. You see, it's becoming like we are a very small minority, but we will hold you for Ghanaians to. You see, what is out there is that our NDC people are saying that we are not hot enough for them. We are making them to overpower us. But that is not the case. The speaker said something one day, that it is the duty of the speaker to protect the minority, no matter how small their number is. So they should be aware of that.
So the lesson is for them to be aware.
They should be aware.
What about you?
They should be aware that we are friends. If we want to move and then carry them out the chamber, it can happen.
Thank you so
But
much.
we don't want to go there.
Doug, you have the final word.
So first and foremost, the lessons are that both sides should be tolerant.
So
that we can disagree, even with the strongest of words, but it should not degenerate to fisticuffs. That's the first lesson we must all learn. Two, we must all learn that the work of the minority would come at a great discomfort to the majority.
Just imagine.
At all times. At all times.
Just imagine.
That the work of the minority will come at a great discomfort to the majority. It's a lesson that we must all learn, either in power or out of power. That unavoidable lesson, we must learn it. The third lesson we must note is that this house is a house of rules. And that if you have any disagreement, follow, lay down procedures in addressing it. If we imbibe these lessons, if we follow these lessons, I'm not sure there's going to be any problem with the work we do as members of parliament. And we must all equally learn that the people of Ghana expect us to go with the title honorable. And that, if they call you a honorable member, you must act honorably. And these lessons, once we go with them, I'm sure the house will be orderly. But
most important lesson, the work of the minority will come with at a great discomfort to the majority.
Thank you so much. Ben, we have a show.
Talk of constructive criticism.
So those who joined the conversation this morning, Dr. Tia Abdul Kabiru Mahama, he's Member of Parliament for Wale Wale. We also had Joseph Kwame Kuma, he is a legislator for Kintampo North. Both of them joined the conversation. Before we take a breather, your health is your wealth, you know that. Let me tell you about Medicas Hospital, a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind. They have spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit built with your children in mind, and they also have assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine, led by Dr. Yao Safo, the drive-time doctor, to serve you. Now, here's what they have on offer. General medical services, as well as specialized or specialist services in plastic surgery, obstetrics and gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, that's mental health, and eye care. Additionally, they also offer a comprehensive medical diagnostic service. Now, it also encompasses endoscopy, medical laboratory services, x-rays, and scans, together with the 24-hour pharmacy, ensuring you'll always receive efficacious, safe, and affordable medicine. They also bring to you the most powerful medicine of all, simple human kindness and empathy, and they pride themselves on holding themselves to the highest attainable standards. They also accept all forms of payment, including from private health insurance companies. Locate Medicas Hospital at number 10 Kinto Street near the Ashale-Boche School Junction. You can reach them on 0501 477 340. On social media at Medicas GH. Medicas Hospital, a place of healing.
Now let me tell you about SolarMate Ghana. You want to select a solar system from our various solar packages ranging from 30,000 Ghana cedis to 99,000 Ghana cedis. All our solar systems come with lithium-ion batteries. Get a solar water heater, a solar home system, a solar power station, or a solar generator ranging from 1,000 watts to 20,000 watts. We also sell reverse osmosis machines for water treatment. Google SolarMate Ghana to find us both on Facebook and on Instagram. Our contact 050-832-0470. SolarMate Ghana is located at Adringano, East Legon. SolarMate, we go everywhere. So much more action on your coming your way on the AM show. We'll be right back.